something centered around schools, not the universities now, but nursery, primary, secondary schools, crèche, you name it. Schools accounting for students in their care. A little child went missing while in school. Well, the good news is the child has been found. But from when the mother raised the alarm to when the child was found, what the school authorities said and what they should have done differently to prevent an occurrence of some sort, of that sort, and what they can do to prevent a reoccurrence. How can schools better account for children in their care, especially during school hours? I mean, seeing that they are responsible for these children. I pay school fees, right? If I come and I drop my child off, I'm expecting to come back and pick my child. If it's a school bus that is coming to pick up my child, I'm expecting the school bus returns my child. If anything happens from between that period when this child is supposed to be in your care to when the child is supposed to be returned to me, you should be held responsible. But you see, these days we have a lot of school authorities quick to disassociate themselves from cases of emergencies in school. Instead they tell you, oh, we are not aware, or they tell you, oh, we didn't see the child, or they tell you, oh, we don't know, or they tell you, this thing probably happened in the house. It was not in our school premises. You know, those sorts of things. I mean, think of some of the stories about children dying within the school premises. A child choked recently in the school premises, all right, during school hours and all, and now a case of a missing child. So let me just go over the full story. A Nigerian mom had taken to social media to cry out for help as a son who she said she dropped off at school on Thursday morning, June 6th, can't be found. According to the mom, she went to her son's school during closing hours to pick him up, but was told by the teachers that he never came into the school premises. I mean, she dropped him off. Being told by the teachers that he never came into the school premises doesn't make sense, right? Now, the follow-up of that story, the boy was later found. And yes, she still couldn't wrap her head around how the school said he never came into the school premises, even though she was the one who dropped him off. Now, that her earlier post did cause panic as many feared for the safety of the boy. However, hours later, she shared an update stating that her son was found in the car of one of the teachers. How did he gain access to the car of one of the teachers? How did they not notice his absence until the mom had to raise an alarm, or until much later when he was found in the car of one of the teachers? You see, as a parent or as a guardian, part of the things that you are concerned about is the safety and well-being of your child. And you see, it's not easy for a lot of parents. I say this with every amount of conviction. And from experience, it's not easy for a parent to leave their child in the care of another person, a total stranger. Now, with a school setting, some parents can get some form of assurance that at least they're not leaving their child in the care of total strangers. Because some parents go as far as doing their due diligence to check out the kind of school they're going to enroll their children. They check for things like security. They check for things like if the school is accredited. And it is for things like this. So when they are holding the school accountable, they know that this school is indeed accountable to some higher authority that will force them to do the right thing or will make them face sanctions or penalties for defaulting. So before a parent will bring out money or set aside funds It's not just about the money. The choice of a school for a child is not just about the amount that it should be paid as tuition fee or whatever. It's about, for the period of maybe 6 hours, 7 hours, I will not have an eye on this child. I will not see this child. I have no idea of what is happening with this child. Maybe I drop the child off by 7, and then the pickup time is maybe 3 or 4. For that period of time, I trust this school to ensure that my child is safe and okay. And if for any reason something goes awry, or something beyond their control, or beneath their control, or above their control, or not in their control happens, they would reach out to me as the parent. And I, as the parent, will be able to swing into action to ensure that, the situation is handled. And that is why most times there is some form of symbiotic relationship between the school and the parents. And that is why, of course, the school will have the parents' database. And that is why some schools are particular about the Parents Teachers Association, because it gives them room to discuss as many things as could possibly go wrong, or issues that may or may not arise in cause of that period when the child is a student or a pupil of that school. Now, having said all of this, you are a parent, you are in the school system, you are in the education sector. Maybe you would help us address this matter. How can schools better account for children in their care, especially during school hours? Because it is expected that this child is in your care during school hours. Question number 2. Why are some schools quick to disassociate themselves from cases of emergencies in the school? Let's talk. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Again, 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Someone says, yo, Didi, how's your mind, how's your body, and how's your soul? I'm good. Thanks so much for asking. D-Square, good afternoon. I wish I can get that moi moi that you cooked yesterday. Please, Didi, send like 2 for me. Let me use like Jebu Gari and eat the moi moi. But okay, I've not made it yet. It's Constance that will make me make that moi moi. So if Constance says make it today, I will. No, Constance right now, she has bought a space in my heart. Let's leave it at that. Someone says, good afternoon. Did the child enter the school? For every parent, when you drop off your child in any school gate, remain there until the child enters the school before you leave. Christian from Port Harcourt. Okay. Okay, can we focus, please? Let's focus on the conversation. Let me also bring this to our knowledge. When I was much younger, it was quite common for children to be sent home from school after they are dropped off by their parents because they were unable to pay their school fees. And we didn't have mobile phones then like we have now. You will agree with me, right? So my father probably would drop me off in the morning and I'm in school. I get into the school. And then maybe the teacher comes with the busser, because that's what we had then, bussers, who usually had the account of all the owing students. And they come and they read out the people that have paid, and then they tell the people that have not paid to go home. They didn't call my parents, or they don't have the numbers to call my parents to say, we are sending your child home because your child did not pay school fees. So this is what is most likely going to happen. From between the period my father dropped me, I was in school. Then my school sent me away. And unknown to my father, I am no longer in school. So maybe he comes to pick me up. And then they say, where is Chinaye? Oh, she was sent home for school fees. What happens from between that time I left the school Who checks to know if indeed I arrived home? Or if I branch somewhere else? Or if something happened to me along the line? I don't know if they still practice that habit of sending kids away for school fees now, but that was how it used to be. So yes, a possibility that your child you dropped off in school may not be in school when you come up to pick the child. Why is the child not in school? Who accounts for that child? Who accounts for the safety of that child? The school authorities, most likely, because you left that child in their care. Nigerian Info, good afternoon to you and welcome. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm calling from Enugu.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to speak as an educator.
As an educator? Okay.
I think that...
Yeah, you said you wanted to speak as an educator. Go ahead.
Yes. A lot of parents are not very... They show a bit of nonchalant attitude when it comes to their children.
Okay.
They would always think the school should be 100% accountable for a child. And I don't think that's proper. Now, imagine a parent dropping a child in school. You're standing at the junction of the school, and then you wave to the child and say goodbye. You don't ensure that child gets into the school compound. That's number one. And then, on the side of the school, if a child is not in school in the morning after the roll call, it's the duty of the class teacher or form teacher to reach out to the admin to call the parents. Oh, your child is not in school. I hope there's no issue. Now, if something like that had happened with the case you just brought up, the mother would have been informed in the early hours. And then she would say, oh, I brought my child. Then, they will search for the child. That's why we take roll calls in the morning and after break. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So we do that to ensure, because sometimes a child could come to school sick, and then we call for the parents and send them, call them to pick them and send them back home. So that child was only in school during the morning hours, not afternoon hours.
Not afternoon hours, okay? What about those children that are boarding?
Sorry?
The boarding students, the students that are boarding school. Some schools have day students and boarding students as well.
Yeah.
And you've heard stories of students who can scale the fence and go out while in boarding school unknown to their parents and of course the school authorities until they are caught.
You see, in such cases, I think the school should be proactive, and discipline such children. One thing I've come to know is that I'm in the day school, so I don't know so much about the boarding school.
Okay.
A lot of parents do not love being told the truth about their children. Now, when you tell them, it turns out to be an attack. Sometimes you call a parent and you say, oh, this is what we've noticed about your child. The next time, that child is not in your school anymore.
Okay.
Do you understand? They are so quick.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nigerian Info, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Didi.
Good afternoon.
Ezekiel, calling from Ubumi.
Ezekiel, you're welcome.
Didi, you see, I attended the St. Andrew's Nursery School at Ziob. When the time comes for closure, our parents or guardians find it difficult to have access to us because they will undergo questions. And it resulted to consulting their register to know if really such child is in the school. I don't know if you are getting me.
Mm.
And during the morning hours, there will be a teacher. Though I don't know if you always stand at the gate, the main gate side, and the doorpost before you get into your classroom. So all these things are what happened during my own time. I don't know if, this time around, based on the story you are giving, for one child to be in a teacher's car while the teacher or while the owner of the child is looking for his child, it is unfortunate. And I think the school should take drastic measure on that particular teacher. That's the act. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you too. Nigerian folk, good afternoon to you and welcome. Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Wellington. Calling from Abuja. Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead.
All right. Of the matter is, how schools doesn't recognize the teachers very well.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, this network is bad. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
The truth of the matter is, most schools don't scrutinize the teachers very well. And most parents doesn't scrutinize the school they want to put their children. That's a fact. You don't see a school, and because people are teaching, you just put them on your words.
I think you should increase the volume of your device. I can hear you, but I find it difficult to make out exactly what you're saying. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. We're talking accounting for students, schools, and counting for students in their care. How can schools better account for children in their care, especially during school hours? Nigerian folk, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Mr. Zion, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Zion. Go ahead.
And thank you for this timely discourse. In our educational sectors, there are a lot of issues going on, some actions that sometimes you wonder, is this really a school or they are just joking? We have admission later. We have acceptance later. But there is one document that is missing. Admission agreement. I challenge any school. Can you show me admission agreement? Any school, both in the tertiary, you will not find. Well, let me look. I challenge any student. Come and show me agreement. Acceptance agreement. This is what you issue the school documents, time, and the provisions to the students. Is ID card number one. Do you know that in this part of the world, public schools don't issue ID cards to their students? Even some private schools. That is why sometimes it's so difficult for you to even sue. On a normal note, when you have admitted a student to your school from nursery or even kindergarten, you issue them with ID card. This to show that you are now our property. Between the hours of 8 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You see this period, you are the product of the school. That is what educated environment they do. Whatever that happens to you, the school takes responsibility. But imagine the environment we live. School we argue, will not see your pikino, and that is it. Do you know that some school environments are so toxic, even more worse than a war-torn environment, more worse than even environment profile for toxic gas and waste flowing in their atmosphere, and they don't care. If our PTAs are truly working, are people who don't have interest from the school and they are not shareholders from the school, These are the laid down principles. For instance, a girl was murdered or her body was found dead in her boyfriend's house, a student of Uniport. We all know that is. Suddenly the school said, no, we are not aware. Oh. Parents, come and take the body away. Oh. That is wrong.
Mrs. Zion, I am trying hard not to drag the tertiary institutions into this discourse, because it is believed that anyone who gains admission into a tertiary institution is well over 18 years and an adult and can take care of themselves.
But that is wrong.
Well, this is also why I can't make that argument for tertiary institutions, because while we have hostels, we also have students living off campus. And off campus, it limits the reach of the school authorities. Except, of course, there is a chaos, and then it has been established that the chaos is emanating from students of a particular institution. Then the school can send their security operatives to swing into action. Off campus, that is. Except, of course, for some of these private schools.
Admission letter, pay 50,000, 20,000 for admission letter. Acceptance letter, we pay. Why do we pay for it? See, these are the things we need to fix. Sometimes we behave in this part of it. Okay, we are talking about the. Okay, let's look on this discuss on the nursery now.
The nursery schools, the kindergartens, the crèche, the secondary schools.
This is even where the liabilities are even more, because these are children. Number one, from the gate, they should not just have a security guard, but also a safety officer that should take note and record of every appliance, digit, anything, block or stone, or mention it in that environment where the children will play. Then the security, not just only at the gate, but also at the entrance of the classrooms, to know when the child is going out, when the child is coming in. The truth is, if parents don't want to sue on certain things, if you go to this school, they have what they call register, they mark register, is it not so? So if, for instance, Mr. Zion want to take a serious audit investigation of a school, the first thing document I should lay my hands from the school is the school register.
Okay.
Was this child was in school today? At what time and what time? If it is after the school hour, anything happened to that child, then the parents can take responsibility. But within the school hour, it is the school that will take responsibility for the medicals, for the health, for everything, for the feeding, everything for the child.
All right. Thank you, Zion. Now, I was having this conversation with my neighbor who has 3 children in school. 2 in nursery and primary. There's one in nursery, the other in primary, and then the eldest in secondary school. Same school, different locations. And she said what her children's school does, especially for the daughter session, the secondary session, it's in a different building, a different location as well, but still close in proximity. The school has a boarding school and a day school. So when a day student is being brought into the school premises, that day student is accounted for. The likelihood that, a boarding student can pretend to be a day student to gain access outside the school premises, slim. Even if, as the mother, she brings something to the child, maybe she forgot to bring it earlier, and she brings it much later, the child is called upon. They check through. It is at the gates, different from the register you have in the classroom. Okay, she was in school today, and then they call her. Day or boarding, they ask. And then she comes, and then they note that someone had come visiting. All right. And then they check to ensure that she went back to the classroom. On days when the school bus comes to pick her up, she goes to pick the child after school. But according to what she explained to me, they needed to account for every child that walks through the school gates. And it is for things like this. By the time they cross-check the register at the gate and the one from the class teacher, if something is amiss, they would be able to fish out where exactly it went wrong. How many schools have that kind of arrangement? Or is it the teachers just stay at the door to welcome the child, and then the parents goes off, drives off, strolls off, whichever? Of course, we've also seen cases where, for some reason, the parents are late and cannot come and pick up the child at the normal closing time. And the child will be in the care of some teachers. That happens too. And then you ask yourself, you didn't come to pick up your child by 4. You probably came to pick up by 6. If anything happens to that child between 4 and 6, who will be held responsible? You, the parent, for not coming to pick up your child the same time other parents came to pick up their child? Even though you had made arrangements for a teacher to help you hold on to the child till you come? 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809-030-6416. Nigerian for good afternoon to you and welcome.
Good afternoon, Sister Didi.
Yeah.
Thank God for you bringing up this matter. There was a school that was to go for excursion, and the people there dressed. A man and his wife brought their little baby that was in nursery 3. Dressed up, no problem. They went for the excursion. When they came back, the man and his wife came back to collect their baby. They said the baby was dead. That is number one. Another one happened last year. A child was dressed up and was not sick in any form before the mother took that child to school. And eventually it could be that the child got to school. The child maybe didn't feel well. Instead of them to call, they left the child, and in the end that child died here. So when the parents came, they said that the child was sick before they brought the child. You can see the contradiction. Have you forgotten the one that happened at East West Road, that a dog ran to school and ate up a boy? So it's just all about carelessness by the teachers. Children are entrusted into the educational care, and the schools cannot do something reasonable to protect these children. Look at this one that has happened. And the worst is for somebody to lose his daughter or his child or a boy. So something should be done. Let there be a legislation that teachers and schools should take care of children. Thank you.
Okay, something should be done. Let there be a legislation. Do we really need a legislation for that? Really? It's a no-brainer. If this child is going to be in my school and I'm going to be collecting school fees beyond A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, beyond telling the child to dress in the correct school uniform, is the safety of the child. I don't need anybody to come and tell me. Or is it a case of child dropped as owner's risk? The same way you park your car in front of an establishment, trying to patronize the establishment. And you go in and you spend money. And then probably you come out and you don't see your car. But you saw security men outside. And then they tell you, if you check in our premises, you will see where we wrote car parked at owner's risk. Okay, fine. I probably did not see it. Oh, now my car is missing. And you tell me, okay, and there's nothing we can do. You should have checked. You should have seen our place to protect your car. Is it the same thing for human beings kept in the care of a school authority? Child dropped off at owner's risk? That you can all the children. Sometimes, if the class teacher is not available, the register will not be marked. And it's only when the teacher comes. It happened in my time. The next day, the teacher shows up, picks up the register again, and says, if you were present yesterday, when I call your name today, you say present twice. Chiamaka Onyechi, present once. Today or yesterday? Today. Okay. Did you come yesterday? Yes. So and so person, present twice. Is that a game to you? Factoring security. Factoring measures for accountability. Because the truth of the matter is, I won't leave my child in your care, and then I expect to come back and you tell me you can't find my child. No, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, D-Square. Some of those teachers in public schools, they don't care about the students. Okay, someone says child dropped off at owner's rigs. Did he please? No, I mean, it's not what you're saying. So when we drop our children off at school, we should ensure their safety from wherever we are. They shouldn't be in school. We should have them at home with us and probably homeschool them. So whenever the school authorities or school whatever administration is ready to provide maximum care and safety for the children in their care. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation so far.
Reach out, be informed, stay connected to the world, and go for the original story. Go for Nigeria Info.
After that, Dr. Jeff is joining us today on Mind, Body and Soul, the 2 to 3 o'clock hour, and the focus is on raising awareness and driving community participation towards getting rid of glaucoma, blindness in River State. So you may want to look forward to that conversation. Stay tuned to us.